Since I think everyone's in the group now. Good morning, Robert.
Hey, morning.
So,
If you're
so
talking to me
I'll
or
I'll do my
Bella.
weekly setups. So right now, on the pound, I have on my 4 hour chart, I have an uptrend. Can you see that I drew the little line across the bottom, and I'm going to run into resistance, right? And you can see it did that during the London Open last night. It ran into resistance right here, and it started to drop. Today is Columbus Day. The banks are closed, and there's no news. So this could be very erratic this morning, but right now it did push off the trend line. It could come up here. It could fail to come up to here. If it drops below the trend line, it's going to seek this area down here. So I gathered all this stuff from my 4 hours. So now I'm going to go down to a 1 hour.
What's your two trend lines, Frank?
All right, this is a 4 hour resistance line, and this is my 4 hour trend line right here
Oh, I got you. Okay.
across the
I
bottom.
thought I got those confused with your moving average lines. My bad.
Yeah, so no, I added those on there because some people are looking at video channels that use trend or use moving averages. So I added those to my charts because it is good confirmation. So right now we're in. You see how weak the movement is on the moving averages? I mean, it's not a real strong. I mean, we are in what's called a creeping uptrend. A creeping uptrend, you got a lot of up and down movements, but they don't go very far. But overall, if you're looking at my 50 and 100 moving averages, they are gradually getting higher. But I ran into resistance here, which I expected. I expected that because on my 4 hour, I'm looking at this as being a resistance line here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so it did bounce off that. And then the next question is it going to bounce off of it again? And it's hard to say because, like I say, there's no news driving the market this morning.
I have a question for you, Frank.
Yeah, Bob.
When when you have the banks closed, like in the US and Canada right now, and you're trading like a US currency, is the volatility on those days less? And are more people trading like, I don't know, the Euro Aussie, some of the other pairs, or does it make a difference
It,
without the
well, I mean, it does make a difference. There's less money on a holiday, whether the banks are closed or not. All right. But the Forex market is a worldwide market. So there's always traders in the market. It's just there's less money to move the market big directions. You're probably not going to see moves like this.
Can you add volume to a chart, or do you care?
No, you can add volume to it. But here's what's interesting about and Tim, you used to be a stock trader, right?
Not daily, but yes.
All right. So stocks go through a central exchange, like the New York Stock Exchange or the S&P or whatever, right? And so volume is a good indicator to have on your charts. The Forex market is decentralized, which means there is no central exchange. So the volume that you'll see on one broker is going to be different than the volume bars on another broker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the volume is really dependent on how many people are running their money through that broker.
Oh, there's no central clearing, huh?
Yeah, so volume, there are strategies that involve volume bars that, on the bottom. Let me see if I can.
Okay.
So you can add volume, and in stocks, the amount of volume in a candle becomes much more significant than it does in the Forex market.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really based on the volume at that broker.
Right.
Although if everybody's trading in the same direction, I mean, the price is always within a pip or two between different brokers, which means the volume in one broker, probably the volume in another broker is going to be a higher volume bar also.
Mhm.
So it can be significant, but not like it would if you were learning the stock market and they say you're looking for high volume bars going in a direction,
Right.
which means there's a lot of money. It is still significant, but not as significant as it is in stocks. Now there, in a typical chart pattern, and that's what we're learning, guys, is chart patterns. Right now, I'm in what's called an ascending triangle. Can you see the triangle here?
If you're waiting for an answer, yes. Sorry, Frank.
Yeah. So there's a triangle. I'm gonna go ahead and continue it out here to here. This is an ascending triangle, which generally an ascending triangle is a form of consolidation. And but generally, if it's ascending, this means that the sellers are getting weaker and weaker. They're unable to drive it down any further. So usually the breakout on an ascending triangle is to the top side. But going to all right, so the dollar is starting to drop. But you can see we're in pretty tight. This is the dollar index here. We're in pretty tight consolidation. So for me to short this, I'd like to see price drop below this trend line and then test it and then come back down to here. So I don't see anything on the pound, but our girl Tracy picked up 34 pips on that last night in the London move, Bob. I'm proud of her.
Thanks, Frank. It was on the pound to the yen.
Oh, the
On
pound yen?
On the
Good job,
5-minute chart, I think it ran from like, I don't know, 1:30 till 7:30 in the morning. I just closed it. That's a question. If you don't have that thing VPS, if I turn my computer off, is it gonna keep doing my thing? Or does it close it out if I turn my computer
No,
off?
it'll only close it out. No, that's a good question, Tracy. Turning off your computer does not close a trade.
Did you have a stop loss, Tracy?
Yes, I put a stop loss in and the take profit.
Now,
Yeah, that's a good time to go to bed.
yeah, this is why I asked Lori, I asked you about the VPN. So last week I had power go out in the building. We were working on the line. All right. So everything went out in the building. But not a problem. I've got my laptop here that's fully charged, and I have my phone, and I have a little Verizon hotspot box for my internet backup. All right. I couldn't get internet, and I couldn't get, my computer couldn't get, well, that's what it was. The internet was out. So my laptop couldn't pick up internet. My desktop couldn't pick up internet. And my hotspots weren't working. I don't know if it was an outage in the internet period or just Xfinity, but I couldn't get internet to save my life. So a VPN, I could have gotten in on my phone and done a remote desktop login and managed my trade. And I had no way, and I was in at 100 points or $100 a point. So I was freaking out that I couldn't
You
get,
didn't have a stop loss on,
yeah, I had a stop loss, but I mean,
but you
it's
still
not
like to
being able
manage
to
it,
see
yeah.
the trade, I mean, I could have dropped $2,000 or $3,000, because usually I put my stop loss in that if there's a disaster, I'm not going to lose my account. But
Well,
I
can't
lose a
you
lot
use
more
your
than what I
phone?
plan on if I'm watching my charts.
Can't you use your phone to log into MT4?
Yeah, yeah, but I didn't have the FTMO account I didn't have their phone app.
Oh.
And of course I couldn't get in to go to the website. So
Mhm.
it was just a mess. So I decided I need to spend, because I got a cheap VPS. I got it for $10 a month.
Yeah.
Well, I thought now, and then I haven't set it up yet, but I got to set up the IP address for the VPS on my phone.
Yeah, the one with this company, Forex VPS, was pretty simple. It's $13 a month. And because it's associated with another, I guess, guru firm, for lack of a better word, it comes pre-installed with 3 instances of MT4, because what they're promoting is their indicators. So
Yeah.
each
So
instance has a different indicator for
Yeah.
auto trading.
so I set up a VPS. It wasn't through a broker. But I was able to install my platform, the FTMO platform on the VPS. But the next thing I have to do is create the link on my phone.
When you say VPS, are you talking VPN?
No, a virtual private server, a VPS.
Okay, well, a VPN is a network that is a private server as well. Okay.
Since I'm sharing my screen here, Bob.
Yeah, but that, Bob, gives you a private network, like for private browsing on your existing computer. But a VPS actually gives you a remote desktop that's on another server. And the idea is there's 3 kind of users. One, people who needs faster transactions. Maybe they're in a different country or they have poor internet where they are. And number 2, people like me who are Mac users that need, a Windows environment.
Can you see
and
my
look for the
screen?
situation.
Yeah.
All right. So
Thank you, Laura.
This is a Windows server in the cloud. So I just installed my platform on that. And yes, thank you, Lori, for the explanation. But so I can you can actually use the VPS and do all of your computing in the cloud and not even have a desktop at all.
And the benefit of this is that your data, in the situation you're talking about, you could have accessed this through your phone. Is that why this is?
Yes, I could have accessed it through my phone.
Gotcha. This is fascinating. I didn't know these existed and why. And Laura, you say you use this because you use a lot of data?
No, I'm a Mac user. So,
Oh,
you
I thought you
know-
said mass, M-A-S-S,
No, no,
mass
no.
user. I'm like, what's a mass user?
no, Mac. And,
I'll share that too.
MT4 and my Forex back tester are both Windows programs. So
Gotcha.
I just got the VPS. And
That's
like if you have a
fascinating.
tablet that's connected to internet, then at least you have a decent sized screen where you can look at charts. A phone might be a little tough for chart analysis, but you could definitely, manage a trade order.
Fascinating. And I'm going to actually look into this. So do you have some recommendations for who to use?
I'm using Forex VPS.
Yeah.
Forex
kind
as in Forex, the trading company?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
they specialize in that because the reason why there's a lot of VPS users is for people that do auto trading, like they set up an EA to automatically place trades for them based on
Uh-huh.
certain indicators. So you don't want your MT4 to be closed or down or a power outage and you miss a trade. So that's why a lot of people will use VPS. They also use it if they do a lot of trade copying. So this way it's always up.
Lori is
Interesting.
turning into a Forex expert here. I'm
Yeah.
I was
loving
gonna
it.
say,
Well,
I'm
I
impressed.
just know about VPS for my business because we have workers who are in the Philippines and their internet is horrible. So we have virtual desktops for them. And, we install the software that they need to do their work. And, my accountant does my bookkeeping on a VPS. So I can have access to QuickBooks and so can she. She just logs in and does our QuickBooks, on that desktop and logs out. So
Can you log into the desktop at the same time?
no,
No.
you can if you pay for that functionality.
Right. Okay. And you just tell them I want a pre-installed Windows 10, or do you have to install Windows 10? How does that work?
No, it comes installed with it. It comes all,
Okay.
mine came all set up with 3 instances of MT4 already
Okay.
installed. I just had to add my account info. I'll send you the email. I had like a little chat exchange and he gave me the link to it. I don't think he was supposed to, because I think you were supposed to be a member of the group for like $147 a month, which I'm not. But I got the VPS and I got the 4 instances of MT4 and I'm using it. So, but it's $13 a month. There's different ones if you need more room. I might have to upgrade because I have my Forex back tester on there and it's putting years and years and years of old data on, which is pretty big. So
Fascinating. I already have a Forex account, so I'll check with them.
This leads to something that you may be interested in. Everybody's looking for prop firms, and I was talking to a company yesterday out of the UK, and it was called Lux, Lux trading firm. And what was kind of interesting about this is that they are actually they use a broker by the name of Global Prime. Now, what makes that interesting is I found out yesterday that a week from today, actually, Lux Trading Firm is going to allow you to trade directly from TradingView, which is kind of unique because that Global Prime broker that they're using, now you would not be, if you went into TradingView and tried to use that
I'm gonna
broker, you couldn't
call
use
right
that
now.
broker because it's in the, they won't allow you to
From the
trade
school.
US. But that prop firm, what makes that prop firm pretty cool is that this is a downside, but there's an upside to it. You only get to keep 65%, where I know the FTMO is 80, but here's the big difference right now. Every time you make 10% on your account, they double your account. And so once you are in the professional part of it, you can get up to $2.5 million because they keep doubling it every time you get 10%. And that doesn't mean you have to leave the 10% in. You can take it out, but for qualification, and there's no time limit on it, so you only have to qualify with 6%, which is kind of cool. They double it when you make 10%, but you share the revenue once you make 6%, and that includes sharing the revenue as part of the 6%. So for whatever it's worth. Now, the downside to it is that they really want you're going to be trading a real account once you pass the 60 days, and but they're really looking for risk management because they only have a 4% allowable loss on your accounts, and they're having you trade like a $5,000 or a $10,000 account the first 2 months just to prove your trading ability. But that doesn't make a difference because it's you immediately in the 3rd month go into your $50,000 account. That's enough. I don't want to ramble on it, but it's pretty interesting if y'all want to look it up because if you want to trade directly from TradingView.
And what was it called?
LUX Trading. It's prop firm.
So is that similar to the FTMO thing?
Yeah, it's just another the
Coke and
FTMO
Pepsi.
is a prop firm, so it's just another one.
Coke and Pepsi, but you have to see what their, terms are. But that's good. I was hoping, as I'm falling in love with, TradingView, I'm like, oh, why can't they just have,
Yeah.
FTMO on TradingView? And so that's good news. Thanks.
Well, I've been looking for this for a long time, and I just run into it yesterday. So I chatted with them about a dozen times.
I do find the MT4 screen much harder to navigate than the trading view and to see more. You can't seem, unless there's a way, you can't seem to see higher than where it's at. It's like you can't just have your mouse and drag it around unless I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, I don't think you can you, Frank?
Because what if you want to place your stop loss higher if it's at the top of the thing and you've already gone down as.
Yeah, then what you do is just go to the next time frame.
Oh, to place it?
Yeah, so if you wanted to place your stop loss up here and you can't see it, you just go to the next higher time frame.
Okay. I see. Okay.
I've been using MT4s for so long. I'm just, I had to go back and learn just the basics of trading view. So
Well, it still seems to have that same ceiling.
Maybe it's telling you don't place your stop loss so far away.
oh,
Oh, no, the bar's right up by the top. I mean,
well, you can do this too. You
How
can
do you-
drag your right hand side up and down to see higher or lower.
it just like snaps back to the other.
Frank, so I was looking, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tim.
I was looking at that same chart, the euro dollar this morning before I got on.
Yep.
And I, down there in your two yellow lines, so I had those. Then I had another line kind of in between those. Up just a bit right where it's on the far left there, where it's down in between the two yellows. Yeah,
Yeah.
right about there, a little up a little bit. But anyway, so I was just watching that, but is that too quick to be watching? Is it?
No, not at all. Matter of
So
fact, what we had is this push down and a failure to put anything lower than this. That was a hint it wanted to go up. But I'm also running into resistance.
Because we're absolutely in a downtrend in that long term.
Yep, absolutely. But the problem is this low price that happened a couple of days ago is the lowest it's been in.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have expected it to bounce up here at this red line, and it's dropped below that. So can it drop down? You're always looking to the left to see, can it drop down further? And it came from way down here. So it does have room to go below. But at some point in time, I mean, it hasn't been, this is on a daily chart, so it hasn't been this low. These are months. 1 month, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It hasn't been this low in a year. So you got to expect because the governments do step in.
Right.
Through quantitative easing or bond buying or whatever to prop the price up. They don't want because of inflation and all these other things, they don't want the price to go below a certain level. So when the government steps in, that's what's so beautiful about Forex. There's always movement. It's just trying to figure out which way it's going. So.
I still don't figure how I can get my screen to look like yours so it's further back, even though I use the plus and the minus. The end of the screen is still way up at the top.
Change the time frame. What time frame do you want?
Well, I have changed it. I've changed it I was on 5 and I did it to an hour and to 4.
Well,
Right now I'm in the euro yen. And it's way up at the top right corner. And
yeah, so is mine right here, right?
how do you make it so you can see higher?
I just went, so now I just changed this to a daily chart. So now you got all this room up here.
Well,
But she can't like on the other time frame, like drag it down to see
No.
above it.
Well, let me try it. Let me go back to a 15-minute. So
okay, so yeah, I see in a day now it's down.
so
Okay.
so see where my mouse is? I'm in the price bar over here.
Yeah, that's how it works on TradingView too.
I'm dragging that up and down.
Yeah, that wasn't letting me do that though. You have to click something to do that?
Yeah, you have to click on this black bar over here on the right and hold the button down and drag it up and down.
Okay,
Or if
I
you
was
have a
just
wheel
rolling
mouse,
it
you
with
can
my
use the-
roller.
Oh, you probably don't have it set up to do that.
Oh, I see now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the euro is at all-time lows and the yen is at all-time highs. I won't say it's all-time highs, but this is a 4-hour chart. I would have expected it to bounce off this.
Mhm.
And so there's stuff going on in the market. So it's, the scary thing about this is you don't know when it's because when something is at all-time highs and all-time lows, you can expect a reversal at any point. So it makes me gun shy.
But if you're in for a 5-minute, you can kind of see better.
Yeah, you can. You can pick up the scalps like Bob, our scalping expert, Bob Hessman.
I don't quite understand. There's zero news today that I could see on the Forex. I mean, yeah, I get the Columbus Day, whatever that's worth. But
Yeah.
oh, you had some. Where are you? I had none. How come where was I doing different? Maybe I didn't refresh.
No, I can tell. Are you in Forex Factory?
Yeah, I was. Let me go back there.
All right.
Bob, can you speak more about scalping? What is that?
Well, absolutely, if you're interested. What I've done is I started looking at all my positions as Frank does, only I do it first on the 1 hour rather than the 4 in the day. And so I mark up my 1 hour charts like every Sunday night and actually every evening and to double check them. And then what I do is I use moving averages that are smoothed, and I use the 20. I use the 21, the 50, and the 200. And as a rule of thumb, when I go back, because I do all my scalping on the 5-minute, I just mark up the 1 hour. And when I go back to the 5-minute, what I do is anything that my rule is that anything is that's above the 200 on a 5-minute, I just look at that as being in an uptrend, and then anything below it, I look at it as being in a downtrend. And I look at my highs and my lows just like you would on any other. And the difference in terms of what I do is that I look for divergence, and I have found it to be the most accurate for me. Everyone has their own personal trading ways, but for me, I like to look for what's known as hidden divergence. Hidden divergence is looking for when the movement is in the same direction as the trend. It's a little bit harder to spot, but not that hard. And when you find hidden divergence, it kind of tells you where the real momentum is or isn't relevant to the price action, and you can make your trade accordingly. And I have gotten in the habit of trading certain pairs. I like volatility, and so I have gotten I have really started, I love the indices, so but the only one that I really focus on is the US 30. So if I'm scalping the US 30 and I've got all my parameters set up right, like the US 30 moved 240 or 50 pips in the last couple of hours. That's how much volatility you get out of it. So, and then I look at a few of the other pairs. I only look at like the Euro Aussie because that does about 100 pips a day. I look at the Euro New Zealand, that's does well over 100 a day. I look at the Pound Canada, does right around 100. I look at the Pound New Zealand, that's high. I know Frank likes that as well. It's 121 average, and then the only other one is the U.S. Canadian, and that averages about 90. So that's about 6 pairs that I have gotten to the point of scalping on because I like the volatility and the high movement. That's it, and the US 30, and so I just that's basically my scalping parameters. And my rules are very similar. When you go in and you pull backs and then you look for an engulfing. I love the moving averages because what I have found is that in addition to into the areas of probability for either resistance or support, I have found that those moving averages, when they tend to bounce off those moving averages as well, particularly the 200. So that's it. That's it. It's not brain surgery. I've prepared. If you're interested, I'm more than happy to share my rules and send them out. I have them. I type them out because I look at them every day, and I even
Sure, that's wonderful.
I
Yeah,
have
I love learning from other people's roles.
and I
Yeah,
have
yeah. And Mario, let me explain that in the market, there's 3 types of traders. There's scalpers, there are swing traders, and there are investors.
Okay.
Scalpers are looking at market movement in smaller time frames to pick up maybe 15, 20 pips. And they're in for anywhere from 5 minutes to, depends on how strong the market's moving, anywhere from 5 minutes to maybe an hour, 2 hours is the longest that they're in the market.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. Swing traders are in the market sometimes for a couple of days.
Right.
And they're usually looking at a 4-hour chart. Wouldn't you agree with that, Bob?
yeah.
4-hour chart.
Because I've done a lot of it. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to a 4-hour chart on this. I may be seeing a move here. If I am a swing trader and I think this market's going up for a couple of days, I may be getting in the market as a buy here with my stop loss below this swing low. That's a 50 pip stop loss. Then I'm hoping it's going to pick up. So my risk is going to be divided by 50 pips, not 5 pips. If I drop this down to a 5-minute chart, all right, I'm looking at my highs and lows on a 5-minute chart, and I may have gotten in this move here with a 10 pip stop loss. But I'm looking for my target to be up here, so I'm looking to pick up, 9 or 10 pips. I'm not looking at picking up 100 or 150 pips.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay,
So
but you're doing more volume.
Yeah, that's a scalping. And Bob and I are both technically scalpers.
Okay.
I'm never in the market for 2 or 3 days.
Okay, because like that one YouTube channel, like Steven, I guess he would be considered a swing trader.
Yeah,
'Cause he's mostly
most of his videos, she's showing you price, where to get in, where to get out on a 4-hour chart. So he is a swing trader, but he's also a scalper too, Bob, as you've noticed.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so it's not, scalpers are kind of, it's actually a large group. I was just thinking it was more like, you're really doing something, in opposition to what the market is, but what you're saying, Bob, is actually your style is you still follow the trend.
100%. Yeah.
And then like, are you in multiple?
No, Well, let me
multiple
tell you
trades.
something when I say follow the trend. There's a lot more trades following the trend than in the trade reversals. And a lot of people like the reversals on the pullbacks in a trend, and you
Mhm.
don't get as many trades. Now, since I was telling you I use divergence, if I'm using regular divergence, what I'm really focused on is the pullbacks in a trend. But if I'm trying to find after it's pulled back and then it's going forward again, that's when I use my hidden divergence pattern. And I found a guy, an Asian guy, I can't think of his name, but I just I just put it in the uh, the documentation that I just sent to Frank just now. Frank, I emailed you
Well, can
my
you
rules.
just put it in the chat, Bob? Just paste it in the chat.
The document.
Yeah, you
I,
can paste.
okay, I've never done that, so I'm not really a
So,
guru
so,
when it comes to Zoom. So
so is it a PDF document?
no, it's just a Word document.
All right, so you can copy that.
You want me to make it into a PDF and then put it in there?
You can do it. Well, yeah, because no matter what the platform, everybody can open up a PDF.
Or a Word, right?
I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Word is
I'm not
fine.
sure, I'm not sure about a Mac
Even on
user.
Mac, even on a Mac, you can open a Word.
Okay, I'll try putting it in there right now.
So there, you know that little smiley face at the bottom, in the corner of the chat? Beside that, there's sort of a square box, and that's where you can add a document.
God, the knowledge base of this group has grown by about 800%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so green when it comes to, let's see.
Well, I'm
invite.
green and a lot too. Frank, what are points compared to pips on here? If it's 76 points, what is that in pips?
7.6.
Go ahead, Lori.
It's 7.6. It's like a micro pip. It's
Yeah.
actually supposed to be called a pipette, but they feel that's not cool, so they call it a point.
But what you need to be really cautious of is that when it moves, and let's say that you're investing in those points. If you're doing a contract, for example, that's still $10 a point. It'll still move. So if you're moving 20 points and you picked up $200 on a 20-point move. If you're doing a full-size contract and it moves fast, so you got to be.
Well, that's kind of what I need to learn yet, because I can't even figure out how to place a for real one. It's just pennies. So I lose a little and I gain a little, even if it's a lot.
Yeah, on that 30 pip move last night on your account, that would have been a $3,000 move.
Right, and I had it set for pennies.
Oh, I see. The whole problem that I was having was I couldn't get out. I needed to get out of full screen. Okay, now let me go to.
Hey, Frank, can you show me how you show news today?
Yes, we got distracted from that. So in Forex Factory, all right.
And I don't.
All right, if you go over to the right-hand side of the screen, do you see my screen? Does your
Yeah. Yeah.
If you click on this little filter here, you can see I want to see all the red news, all
Yeah,
the
I've got
news,
that.
and all the yellow news. And if you hit apply filter, then you should get all of this news.
Yeah, no, I've got that, but I show nothing today, which is weird. That's impossible.
Then go over to the other side.
Okay.
And click the little down button.
Yeah.
And click out to the end of the week. So this is the news from the 11th. Go from the 10th to the 16th and apply the settings.
Okay, let's try that.
And that should give you all the news this whole week.
Yeah, that was it for whatever reason. Oh no, it's the 10th. No, I'm the 10th to the 16th, but I've got nothing today, zero.
Yeah,
I've
well,
got everything tomorrow.
The 10th was Sunday. That was last night.
Yeah, I got that.
That
I've
was,
got nothing. I got 0 on Sunday and 0 on Monday.
oh, no,
Can
you should have these for Monday.
I know. Oh, you know what? They're all yellow. I don't have the yellow chosen.
Yeah, there you go. That's why.
That's what it is. Okay. The only things today are yellow things. Okay. I'll not change that.
And I look at the yellows because they can be significant, but I mean, I don't look, if I would have probably, if I would have done this, this shows the bank holiday today in Canada and the US, in the US.
Why does Canada do the Columbus Day?
Because their partners to the south of them are taking the day off. So, you know,
They're sucking up, in other words.
it's a bureaucrat way of, I need another day off this year.
Yeah, well, that's a fact. Stock market's open. So. Yeah, that worked. Thank you, Frank. Sorry, that was a dumb move on my part.
No,
I've seen that.
there you go.
Did you get it in the chat? Those rules.
All right, so I'm looking at, I wasn't really interested in trading anything today, but I'm on the pound USD. So it looks like I created a new top here. So I'm expecting if I'm a scalper, I'm saying this, Mari, because I'm a scalper, all right? I'm looking for the pullback. So I'm looking for sellers to step in. I'm looking to see how strong the sellers are. So if the sellers take it down, to here. And then it starts to reverse.
Mhm.
The sellers the buyers are in a stronger position, all right? So I'm going to have these up and down movements. A scalper, I'm looking, if I were to look for getting in, I'd be looking to get in for maybe 7 or 8 pips at $100 a pip. That would be an $800 move.
Okay, wow.
And so, you know, I used to have this argument in the forums all the time. Who makes more money, a scalper or a swing trader? And I usually won the arguments because somebody on a 4-hour chart, they're way down. I mean, they're looking at such big moves on a 4-hour candle. The 4-hour candle may be 60 pips. And in that 60 pips, I may have been in 3 or 4 times scalping the moves, you know.
Was that something typical, Frank? If you're doing that, you're doing $100 a pip move. Is that like typical for what you do, or what would you say? It just depends on what you're
50
feeling the day.
50 to $100 is typical for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to see, I mean, I need to see my setup on a 5-minute, you know, first of all, I look to see where's the heavy money at. So as I said last night, I'm looking at my 4-hour chart, you know, if this shows me, if I start getting some, because right now I'm just showing a wick on a 4-hour chart, on a 4-hour candle. This is just a wick, right? But if I get a move like this on a 4-hour chart where I can see that I will switch over to my 5-minute chart, and this one candle here on a 4-hour chart, there's going to be several waves of action on my 5-minute chart. 4 hours, just one bar. This is the price over 4 hours. But on a 5-minute chart, there's going to be prices up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I might try and pick up 4 or 5 pips on each one of those moves. At, you know, this strong of a move, I'm just selling. So I'm looking for pullbacks, and continuations. But when I'm really, really certain, I'll get in at $100. If I'm not so certain, I'll get in at 5 or at 50 bucks a point.
So is your on the MT account thing where it says volume, that's where you're putting in that. What volume is $50 or $100?
$50 is 5.
For the
$100
volume.
is 10. Yes.
Okay.
That's 5 lots. A lot is basically $10 a pip.
Okay, that's what I didn't figure. I've been doing 10
So,
cents.
so if
like
you have a, if you have a,
0.1.
full- if you have a full number, there's $50. If it's 0.5, that's $5. 0.05 is 50 cents.
So 0.10.
Point one is $1 a point.
Okay. All right. So then on the 4-hour one that I did from last night on the pound to yen, I made 76 points, so that's 7.6 pips. If I would have done it your way, say at $100, that would have been $700 then.
Yeah, but so how do you determine how much you're going to get in for? All right.
Yeah.
It all comes down to risk. All right. Like if this move and I'm on a 5-minute chart and I can see that I'm getting really good movement, my stop loss is going to go down here, which is 8 pips away. Right. Depending on this action here, you know, I may have gotten in here at 50 pips, and that would have been a $500 move this morning.
Well, and that you're watching it. It's not like an overnight or a
No,
4-hour.
that is
chart. So,
absolutely
yeah.
That's absolutely correct. And so you need to determine how much you're willing to lose. So in this case, I'm willing to lose 10 pips. I'm not willing to lose $1,000. So I say 500, right? I go to my calculator and I say, I'm willing to lose $500. And my stop loss is going to be 10 pips, 10 pips. So I could be in at $50 a point. I could be in at 5 lots. And if it comes, so you know, you have to do your risk management. First question you have to ask yourself is, how much am I willing to lose? And because this movement down failed, I mean, I failed to come down lower than this, right? I'm assuming I'm going to try and come back up to here. So if I decided to get into here, I say, all right, it's got 12 pips it could move, because it may reverse here. It's got 12 pips it could move. And I've got 8 pips. It could go down if it stops me. If I'm wrong, it could go down 8 pips. I'm willing to risk X amount of money. I'm willing to risk 500 to pick up 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
All
So
right,
you took that 500 and divided it by 10, because that's how many pips it would go down, or what?
Yeah, that's my stop loss would be down here 10 pips away. That's where my stop loss would be, is right there. So my stop loss is here. I get my crosshairs and say, all right, if it goes down 6 pips, and 6 pips, I divide that 6 by I'm sorry, I cut somebody off.
I think somebody was just not muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Frank. I just cleared my throat. That's all. Sorry.
All right.
So if you're willing to lose 500, if you're going to set your stop loss at 10 pips, you would then divide 500 by 10.
Yep.
Okay.
If I'm only
I
willing
can
to
handle
lose,
that, man.
if I'm willing to lose $50, it depends on your account size,
Right.
Tracy. So when
Well,
you
if it's
got
100,000,
huh?
if it's 100,000,
Yeah, if it's 100,000, then you've got a lot of money in the bank. So I'm willing to risk 0.5% to 1% of my account. 0.5% is $500.
mm-hmm.
And the other day, last week, I had a really bad day in the group. I lost $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like a lot, but I made it back the next day.
So on a $100,000 count, 0.5% is 500.
Yep.
Something that was of interest, possibly, I don't know who asked the question, but it was regarding Steve, and he's kind of more of a swing trader, but he does, as Frank pointed out, some scalping. What I realized was he's got this group, what is it, EMA group or whatever? It's kind of a professional, or not a professional trading group, but a group that's using him as a mentor. And anyway, what he does is he sends all the setups once a week that he sees for swing trading. But what I begin to realize after seeing a couple of videos of his is that he doesn't share all the scalping that he does in between his own swing trades, because it would be too much that he would have to put in emails, I think. So what he does is he kind of promotes the swing trading, but he does a lot of scalping in between the swing trades. So you can be swing trading, and in a swing, it's going to be moving forward and backward continuously. It's never going to go just 100% in the same direction, right? On a swing, normally on a large swing. So you can make, the point is you can scalp. You just have to make sure you're at the computer when you're scalping. You don't have to be, but once you, like Artie, that other fella, he said, one of the biggest problems that, and I had this problem, is the emotion and the psychology that is involved with the trading. And the biggest problem is I'd set my ratio, the 1 risk to 2 reward, right? And when I saw a little bit of profit coming in, I didn't have the confidence to stick with it, and so I would get out. So technically, I probably had a larger risk than I did reward, because I wouldn't stick with it. And so what I did, which is just the opposite of what a lot of traders do, and I know this, but I always set my stop loss. Once I do a scalp, a lot of times if I have confidence in it when I started, I'll have confidence in it if I move away from it. So I'll get up and go get a cup of coffee or something and then come back. And I have found that has helped me in my scalping.
I got another interesting story for you. So I get a call from my daughter yesterday. She and her son and her next door neighbor friends all want to start learning how to trade Forex. So I did their introductory thing last night. And they'd already been through Steven's videos, because I gave him a heads up. But he belongs to a group, Bob. They set him up with a $100,000 paper trading account, right?
Yeah.
And they send him signals like Steven does. All right. He's going to start sending me the signals. His account's up to $142,000. And he doesn't even, this should be encouraging. He has no idea. He just puts in the order, the stop loss, and take profit when they tell him to.
Yeah.
But he's
What
made,
kind of a lead is it? You better be sitting there waiting, or they give them 4-hour leads, or must be more swing trading?
no, I don't know. He's going to start sending me his things. But what's encouraging about that is when you're first starting to learn this, it's like I'm losing money. If you can have somebody just put the inner order in, the lot size, the stop loss, and take profit, here you have somebody who doesn't even know what basically Forex is added $42,000 to his account.
That's crazy.
All right, and if that were in a prop firm, that 42,000, you take 80% of that, right? Which is what, 30 some thousand bucks.
Yeah.
That's not bad for working a couple hours a day.
Not at all.
So I'm
That's
going
through
to,
Steve's, or that's through what?
what's that?
Is that what he signed up for, or whatever? Is that through that Steve? Like,
No,
I think something else.
No, a lot of brokers, when you get a paper trading account, you can sign up for their signal service, right? Where they'll just send you signals of what their traders are looking at. I don't have all the details. And I said, well, if that's working for you, I said, you're still good. You're still good to see, why did they tell you to place what were they looking at, right? What were they looking at when they sent that signal out? So even if all you do is take, if their trading signals work, if they're coming from good trades and you trust them, that's all you need, right? But, sometimes those traders go through bad trades too. It's good to be able to analyze what are they looking at on this trade? Are they looking at 4-hour charts, daily charts, 1-hour charts? What was the signal? I said, it's good that you learn to see for yourself why it was a good setup. Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah, if you're going to be a trader, you have to learn to trade.
But I thought it was pretty cool that somebody who didn't even hardly know what Forex was able to make $42,000 on their account.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
nothing
doubt.
wrong with that.
That you'd have to look at over the long time period though, too. And so if he does that for the next couple months, let us know.
Well, I'm going to share it with the group. I mean, they're becoming part of the group. That I expected maybe some of them to start being here this morning. All right.
And this is your
Are
daughter's
they
husband?
also Jehovah's Witnesses, you said, since they're her friends, or?
Yeah, they all are. So I'd like to keep the
Right, yep.
keep the religious discussion out of the group. So
Mhm.
And this is your daughter's husband, you said, Frank?
her son and her next door neighbors, which are
Gotcha.
also.
And who was the one that was doing this? Was it her son or the neighbor?
It was the neighbor.
Nice. Okay. Very cool.
And he said, I'll send you the signal. I said, well, yeah, that would be nice. I'll pass the signals on, all right, to the group. But what I'm curious about, if they're that good on their signal, I'd like to see what their trade setups look like when they send the signal out.
Mm-hmm.
What are they looking at for stop losses? Are they on 1-hour charts, 4-hour charts? Because where we should all be is being able to see price action and see a good setup. That's where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, this
Yeah,
is
I think
off
you guys
topic.
kinda-
Go ahead.
I think you guys kind of touched on it a little bit already, but you can do FTMO through your phone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have a mobile app.
And I only ask that question because if you were to use a service like that or be involved in a service like that, who knows where you are when you get the tip. It'd be nice if you said, no, I can get on and do that trade if you wanted, and a phone would allow that.
Yeah, I will check that out. I'm pretty sure they do have a phone app.
Yeah, I would think. But you're not used to using it.
No, because I'm sitting here most of the time.
Yeah, none of us has left our office for the last 2.5 years. I get it.
Frank, is there a place on MT4 where you
Yeah,
can see the time ticking away?
Just
from
a
like
minute.
if
So
you're on-
here's the FTMO. They do have a phone app, Tim.
Gotcha.
What was that question, Tracy?
Is there a place on the MT4 where you can see, like if you're in a 5-minute trade, how much time is left? The Trading View has it right on that ticker to the right.
Yeah, there is an indicator for how much time is left on the candle. I don't have it. I'd have to load that, but there is an
Okay,
indicator.
so it is
for
an
that.
indicator. Okay.
Yeah.
You can hover over the candle, right? That'll tell you.
I don't know if it will or not.
I don't know if no, it tells you when it started.
Yeah, I couldn't
It
find
tells you
anything last
tells you what
night.
the volume is also.
Yeah. But it is to the hour and the quarter hour, so the math is pretty easy. So like this current one started at 1700, so you've got.
That's if you like thinking numbers. I just like looking at them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get it.
You can always draw a vertical line, like on a larger time frame, and then go back to the 5-minute or 1 minute. And you
No,
see
Tracy,
the
I'll look that up. I'll look that up to see if I got somewhere a candle counter in my
No,
indicator.
because if you're on Trading View, you can see that where it's at right at that moment. It tells you like there's 1 minute and 30 seconds left. And
Yeah.
I mean, it just is right on that, like the moving part.
And I would normally say, Tracy, that's a bunch of hooey, but Sean Lucas, the best trader that I've ever worked with in my entire life, the guy that does the APRI fund.
Mhm.
He's on 1 minute candles and he's always saying the last 20 seconds of the candle will tell you what it's going to do. He's always looking at the last 20 seconds of a 1 minute candle.
I like looking at the time too, on the 5-minute one.
So if that's important to him, that's important to him, but he's looking for 2 pip take profits, 2 or 3 pip take profits. You know what, guys? I want to thank everyone that's in this room because your participation makes it so much more interesting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're starting to learn in this group, and everybody's contributing. I think it's wonderful.
Well, with that said, I'm afraid I have to sign off and go do some work. So thank you, Frank, for setting this up, and thank you, everybody, for allowing me to listen in.
All right, we'll see you. Hopefully, Tim, I'll be here again on Wednesday. So.
Yeah, okay, and I'm going to try to get with you this week, and I want to go over my Forex. We were going to talk about setting that $100,000 account up and doing a couple things. So I'll get with you hopefully the next few days and see what your schedule is.
All right, buddy. Yeah, I did it for my daughter last night, so it's fresh in my mind now. So that would be good.
Sounds good. Everybody have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
As well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Can we get to the chat area when we send these things out later? Is that possible?
No,
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. That's why sending it when you send your stuff to chat, I don't, I can get it, but I don't get it in time or,
I sent it.
just after the
Well,
meeting.
if Frank is recording it, it saves the chat, but you can also, if you have the chat open in the lower right corner, it'll let you save it. There's 3 dots. Save
but you
chat.
can't add to it like from the
Yeah.
recording.
No, but if you want to join our little WhatsApp group, we've got where we have ongoing kind of conversation between these sessions. Do you guys do WhatsApp? It's kind of like a instant messaging program.
I haven't used it.
I don't use it either.
More than happy to.
Yeah, I'll give you the link. Hang on.
Well, they would just have to set that up then on their phone or.
Yeah, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. But it allows for international chatting at no cost. So that's why it's pretty popular. All right, so I just put that invite in the chat. If you click on that, it should prompt you to install the software. You're going to have to connect it, to whatever cell phone number you have. But Frank just joined us, so that's nice. So instead of talking about him, we can talk to him.
All right, guys, let me see if there's anything else from this morning. Probably not. Who was looking for how to copy the chat? Was that you, Robert?
Yep.
All right. Did you see the 3 little dots in the chat window?
Yeah.
And you see where it says save?
Yeah.
That should save it to your computer.
Okay.
Did my document come in?
Well, that's what I was looking for.
I don't think so.
You should be able to click and drag it, but you have to hit enter for it to push to the group.
Yeah, I thought hang on just a minute.
So Frank, if you're on the pound to the dollar on the 5-minute chart, does that look like a double bottom right now? And then we'll watch and see where it's going to go.
Yeah. So it did bounce off this top, right? It did bounce off this top. And we had a pretty big move up. So what I would be looking for, Tracy, is I would be looking for it. Is it going to come? This is a double top here, but I'm not sure this.
Well, I was just looking at where it's now. Would that be a double bottom if it started going up from there?
No, a double bottom is if it came all the way back down to here.
Okay, well, I'm on the GBP USD 5-minute
So
chart.
just, so let me check here on the 5-minute.
Yeah, see
All
that?
right, yeah, so now we've had this move down. So now I had this move up, I had this move down. If it hits this bottom, that's a double bottom.
So it has to go all the way down to where those 2 candles are both the bottom, not,
Well, this would be a double bottom here. And a stronger double bottom is if it came all the way back down to here.
okay.
But
But
I'm,
you wouldn't go with that shorter one from where you originally had it.
well, yeah, so what I do is I draw, all right, so every move has a top and a bottom, right? Every move does. So here was the top of this move, and here was the bottom. This is where the move started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be trading between here and here on a 5-minute chart. It's trading between these 2 points, right?
So if it hits that bottom again and then you get an engulfing
if
candle, a
it
good
fa-
one,
it-
that would probably go up then.
All right, yeah, so it could go up before then, all right, because you have sellers, you have buyers that were down here. When they got in, where did they place their stop? They placed their stop loss down here.
Mhm.
Let's say they got in, they placed their stop loss here, they're willing to lose X amount of money, right? There's money sitting down here. There's a block of money sitting down here from all the people who bought and put their stop losses down here. These guys, the sellers, are going to want to go grab this money. So if it fails to come down here, if it fails to rotate all the way down, then there's going to be another move up. Now, I would not have expected if it was going to go try and challenge this red line, I wouldn't have expected it to retrace this far. But I'm watching it because there could be, if it fails to come down here and we get another engulfing candle in this area, if we get another engulfing candle going up, it's going to try and take out, because these people who sold up here, where are their stops at? Their stops are right up in here, right?
Mm.
So there's a block of money here and there's a block of money here. These
Okay, now
guys-
that makes more sense.
These guys will want to go grab this block of money, and these guys will want to block. So when I say I'm looking for I'm looking to see, these guys are highly motivated to come down to here. If they can't come down to here, then the buyers are going to take control again. And so that's what I'm constantly looking for. I'm looking for these movements to see how strong they are and to point that out. So here was this move up over here, right? It moved up. The sellers stepped in here, right? The sellers stepped in here, and
But
they
made a
weren't
higher low.
and they weren't able to draw. They weren't able to. This is an important concept. So we had this move up, and we had a shallow pullback. They couldn't push. They should have wanted to push it below this last low. They couldn't do it. It continued on up. So if people are paying attention to their charts, their stop losses were here. When it continued to go higher, they moved their stop loss up to here. So if they got in at the very bottom, which is very difficult to do, by moving their stop loss above where they got in at, they can't lose. They can't lose on the trade.
Mm-hmm.
And then it moved up. They would have moved their stop loss up into here. Now they've locked in more profit, right? Some people want to give it room to breathe, so they would have left their stop loss down. So these guys tried to come down and take out the stops here. That's when it reversed, right? So the buyers protected this position. So now you have all the people who got in here and all the people who got in here, their stop losses are sitting. So there's motivation for the sellers. There's a bigger block of money sitting down here now. So as we're watching price right now, we're trying to see, did the buyers protect this position? Or are they going to allow the sellers to come down here and grab this money? So if this continues to go up, right, there's always this constant battle between the buyers and sellers. So if this goes up, it could go up, and the buyers just don't have enough strength to go up here, and it makes another swing like it did down here, right? You see one side, the other side came in, not enough energy, came in here, they tried again, not enough energy. I'm looking for these type of patterns. This whole thing is a structure. This whole area is a structure. So what a trader needs to do is say, what is the structure of this whole area here? Highs and lows, who's giving up, who has the strength, and what, like if I get an engulfing bar here, that's a lot of money that stepped in at this point in time to push it away, right? So now if I get a candle that barely comes down and I can see the structure still heading up, now I'm interested in buying. So it's not a matter of one candle, two candles, it's the whole structure. Does that make any sense to you, Tracy?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. It's like concepts that you kind of need to, you're helping us drill into. It's, you know, it's not the first time we've heard this, but it's so helpful to hear it again and again. Because I'm still trying to understand, you know, what the market, what the response, you know, how we should read the response of each of the structures, I guess.
So let me explain the stop. So I've kind of explained risk management, right? So I'm willing to lose X. So it's heading this direction. So I say it's gonna probably try and come back down to here because it wants to travel between the high and the low. That's what it's trying to do. So as you're watching this, people say, I'm going to get in. I'm willing to risk a couple $100. So they place their stops up here. All right. And if it goes up here, they lose their money. Well, if you're selling, what a stop loss is a buy order. That's what a stop loss is an order for the opposite direction. So if I'm buying here, these are sell orders sitting down here. So to use a very crude illustration, I go to the store and I buy 3 oranges, right? And at the same time, if the price of oranges goes down, I don't want to lose money if they're going to lower the price. So I want to get out of my position. So if I bought 3 oranges here, this is a sell order for 3 oranges so that if it hits this, I'm at 0 position. I bought 3, I sold 3, I'm out. I don't care what it does after that. So the stop losses are orders for going in the opposite direction.
Okay, can I ask another question?
Yep.
Okay, so the candle previous to the one that's there now appears to be an engulfing candle, yeah? Even though that wick goes way low?
No, this isn't. This one right here is not really an engulfing candle.
And why?
Well, usually engulfing candle, usually what will happen is you'll get a bunch of little candles in this area here.
Uh-huh.
And then this one candle takes out all of those candles. So I would expect an engulfing candle to take out would be one candle that came up into this area here.
Okay, so it's not just relative to the one previous to it.
Well,
No.
that's not Steve's definition, Frank, just so you know.
Yeah,
What-
that's why Steve was saying if the candle
Is bigger than
body
the
is
previous
bigger
one.
than the other one, and then it would be a swing low if the wick was lower than the wick of the other one.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. And Steve's definition is correct, but what's he trading? He's trading 4-hour charts, right?
Okay,
When you're on a 5-minute chart,
yeah,
it's really, really noisy.
So, a question related to that though. So we have it going down and the one to the left of what I was saying could be a engulfing candle. So yeah, with that long wick down. So that shows that it tried to go down, but then it pushed back up.
Yeah,
And
so
then you got the one next to it, the body going down a lot. Is that showing probably the trend is still going down even though that one pushed back up?
absolutely. So this could come up. This could come up to here. This could come up to here, right? And then it could press. Keep in mind, you're still wanting to hit this target.
Mhm.
All right. So this would be of this move here, this would be a shallow pullback. And then this, this is still a very, very shallow pullback here. All right.
Mhm.
So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a setup like this where I get now this is an engulfing candle. You see how I took out the two previous candles?
Okay, yep.
All right, now since I'm on a 5-minute chart, this is a lot more significant when I'm telling you now on the smaller time frames because there's so much noise in the market. I want to see, so now the buyers have showed their hand, right? What do the sellers do? The sellers came in here.
Mhm.
Sellers came in here and they were unable to even go below the previous candle, right? So what I'm typically looking for is I'm not looking at a one candle, I'm looking for something like this where the seller stepped in and I want to see how far down they can push it. And it formed a shelf right here. They couldn't go below that, right? The next time that they tried, they couldn't even come down to here. I would have been interested in buying somewhere into here.
Because you saw it go up and it came back
Because
down.
I'm watching the price action over a series. I had a move up, a shallow pullback.
Mhm.
All right. And then my stop loss would have been below here. So
Mhm.
this move back down would have been a little scary, but then it pushed up again, right? And then when I started getting these movements back down, I would have exited the trade and grabbed my profit. And then I sit back and wait to see, all right, how strong are these guys? Well, they pushed it right back down to guess where? Right here, right?
Mhm.
So this support just became stronger because now I've got it was supported here, it was supported here. And now there's another attempt to come down here and I'm heading back up.
Mhm.
Now I'd like to see a candle move up and then a wick come down and fail to take out this candle.
And that would show it would be going up or down then.
That would show that the buyers are stepping back in.
Okay.
So these guys have showed their hand. The buyers have stepped in. Are they strong enough to take it all the way back up to here? I have no idea. But at some point in this journey, if they are coming back up here, some point in this journey, there's going to be a wick or something that fails to come down to the previous candle. And then I'm showing that the buyers are still have a lot of strength. So that's the type of stuff I'm looking for. Because in essence, this was an engulfing candle here. So,
Mhm.
so let's just keep it here.
So would you move up your stop loss then? Because you got that double bottom there if that continues to move up?
Yes, I would. If this continues to go up and it shows it's not coming back, then I would take my stop loss and move it underneath it here.
Mhm. And that would be your line of resistance then,
Yep.
up there.
So right now I've got a pretty good line of support right here.
Support. Yeah, I mean support. Yeah.
Now the sellers at some point in time are going to step back in. If they're unable to once again take it down to here, I'm fairly safe in hitting a buy position with my stop down here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, the sellers are trying to come back. So this is like what, for me, I love football. This is like watching a football game. All right. For me, this is first and 10 on the 20-yard line. You know?
Hmm.
So we're on the 20-yard line here, and here's the end zone down here. So I just view it as a football game. And sometimes the quarterback's going to get sacked, and that's, you know, he gets sacked for a 10-yard loss.
Well, right now it's at 20 seconds. So if Sean's right, we'll see where it's going.
I think you girls are addicted to Forex trading. That's what I think.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
All right. So you see the sellers are making their push. How far, you know, now if it breaks this, if it breaks this candle, I want to see the sellers run out of steam. That's what I want to see.
And that would mean that there would not be a very long wick at the top.
That is correct. I moved this line before. I didn't want to really, okay. So that's my,
So like today, you said you're not really planning on changing. You weren't unless you know, you or trading,
well,
unless you saw something. How long would you sit here? Do you just to look and see where this is going to decide if you would?
well, in my office, all right, I want to see, I can see on a 4-hour chart, I'm in a pretty good area of consolidation here. I mean, I'm looking for stuff like this is, now keep in mind this is a 4-hour chart. I'm looking for really good movement that I can determine my direction on a 4-hour and 1-hour chart. And there's not enough information. You can see all day long. I've been in consolidation here, right?
Mhm.
So if I really had the bug to trade, I would wait for it to see what it does when it comes down to this line here.
So you could place a limit order there.
I could, but because there's no major news today, there's nothing really driving the market. So it can be, and I'm only really interested in trading on days that have news that's going to move the market one direction or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like the probability of my trade to be 90%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And Tracy, that was one of the hard things for me. I had to be in the market all the time. I was constantly pressing the button. All right.
Yeah, I think I've asked you before, Frank, but there are days where you won't make a trade, right?
Yep.
There's nothing that entices you to do so.
And that starts on Sunday night, Mari. That starts with my Sunday night analysis to say, what's the news this week?
Right. And like you mentioned last night, there's big news coming on Wednesday. So you know that you'll have
Wednesday is going to be a very interesting morning because we have, see, tomorrow there's some news. There's always, the market's always moving up and down, all right? But Wednesday, I've got this whole rash of red news on Wednesday.
And what typically happens after a holiday? Like, is there, tomorrow, for example, because today, the banks were closed. Is there more activity? Should we expect more activity tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or not necessarily.
There could be. Let me share my whiteboard because I just got my harem with me now. So
you can show us the good stuff now.
When you look at those red ones, Frank, you have to somehow figure if you think it's going to move the market up or down, what determining factors helps you do that?
all right. So here, let me answer that question first. All right. When news first comes out, there's a knee-jerk reaction. All right. So we're usually, if we're waiting for news, the market is in consolidation, waiting for the news to come out. All right. The news comes out and there's a knee-jerk reaction that goes like this.
And it usually will go up, that knee jerk is up, because that's what,
No, the knee-jerk can go in either direction,
okay,
but you're gonna get a knee-jerk reaction, all right? And then you're gonna get people start taking profits. So you'll start seeing action like this. These are all people saying, all right, I made money on this move. I'm gonna start taking, and at some point in time, within 30 to 45 minutes after the news announcement, it will bottom out and you'll get an engulfing candle. That means it probably will be continuing to go up for the rest of the day. Now, for that night that we were on the New Zealand rate hike thing, we saw this action, if you recall, and it kept pressing and it kept pressing. And then it did this. You remember that? It went
Mhm.
completely the opposite direction.
and you said when it first does the knee jerk thing, that's right before or right when it
No,
comes
right when
on?
when they announce the news and say, all right, the interest rate is 0.5%. You got a knee-jerk reaction. And if you recall on that news announcement, there was a rate statement that came in after the announcement. And the statement said, all right, here's why we raised the interest rate. Inflation is really high. Unemployment is in the crapper. So in the statement, they tell the real reason that and the reason that they raised the interest rate was so bad. That's why the market did this. And now this is the opposite direction. The night that we did that, if you recall, but this is typical of major news. All right.
So you said it gets a knee jerk reaction, and about 30 to 40 minutes later, it kind of levels out.
So the
and
night
then
we were
that's
looking,
where you see-
the night that we were looking at the rate announcement, it did this. And you remember there were stops down here. They took out these stops. And then it went here. And then it started doing this. And I had resistance sitting up here. And remember, I took my $350 and everybody asked me, why did you go ahead and close the trade? And it was because I knew I was going to run into resistance here. Now, what happened is it ended up doing this overnight, and then it started heading back down again. All right, so after your knee-jerk reaction, the market within an hour, usually within an hour, will settle. You'll get rid of all of this stuff into here, and you get settled on some type of trend. And I know there's going to be, if it's red news, there's going to be a I know this. There's a knee-jerk reaction. Now, sometimes the knee-jerk reaction, they get it right. So they make the announcement, inflation is now at 7%. All right, so they get this knee-jerk. Sometimes it never comes back, but you can see this on your charts that it's not coming back. So usually within an hour after the knee-jerk reaction, I'm in 30 minutes to an hour after the news announcement.
That's when you're placing your order?
Yeah, that's when I'm going to get in the market. But I also know on these days the market's going to move. And it has to move, because if I go back to my 4-hour chart, this is a lot of movement, because each one of these candles is 4 hours in length, right? That's 1 hour. So for swing traders are going to be in the market for a couple of days, they're looking for the same type of patterns. They're looking for, where's my high? Where's my low? And where's my failure to rotate to the last high or the last low? I had a failure to rotate on my 4-hour chart here. So when it broke this, if I was a swing trader, I would have a limit order or a stop order set below here with a take profit up here, my take profit would have been 100 pips away. But I'm looking for it to continue down for at least 200 pips, which it did.
So they would have taken a sell order there, not a buy order.
Yeah, I would have had a sell order here, a sell stop.
Now that big candle there, is that something, is that when the market opened or closed or news, or why is that big long one?
Well, I can't say because between these white lines is a week.
Oh, okay.
But there, I guarantee you on this date, 9/28, there's probably news on this day.
Mhm.
But see, if you can start seeing the patterns, all right, this was the bottom. I had to move up. I had a failure to rotate down to here before it started moving up again, right? So whatever day this was, I would have been interested in buying the pound USD.
Mhm.
But if I'm a swing trader, this one can't, you know, I'm waiting to see the patterns on a 4-hour chart or a daily chart. So when you go to the daily chart, this is, you know, if you go to the daily chart, you can see, all right, over this whole month here, price was moving down. So I'm waiting for pullbacks and continuations.
And then when that engulfing candle hit off that double bottom, that's where you were getting in.
Yeah, so then my bias would have changed because these are daily candles, right? These are daily candles. My stop would have been down here, which is 90 pips away. So I would
And
have,
you would have gotten in at that point.
I would know on this engulfing candle, if I was trading daily charts, I probably would have placed an order here.
And where would you have put your take profit then?
I would have gone 1.5 to 2 times what my stop loss was. So if my stop loss was 120 pips, my take profit would have been 120 pips.
Mhm.
All right. And then I'm running into resistance, a daily resistance line here.
So you figure your stop loss first, and then that determines your take profit.
Absolutely. And most people recommend a 1 to 1.5 times their stop loss. 1.5 is better because if you get 1.5 or 2, sometimes you'll get 2, sometimes you get 3. But you can see on my daily chart here for the pound USD, I'm moving up. I had my shallow pullback was here, right? And now
What would help you determine if you were gonna do just a 1 or 1.5 or a 2 times?
well, you can set it if you're on a longer term time frame. You have a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you get in 1 and you can start looking how much the size of the candles, right? The first thing that you can do is lock in your 1%, or just lock in profit and adjust adjust it up to 2. You can drag your take profit up. If you think there's enough momentum on these highs and lows.
What about on the 5-minute charts?
It's the same thing on the 5. That's what's interesting about this is if on your daily and your 4-hour, if you have strong movement in a direction, I'm waiting for a pullback. When I go over to my 5-minute, let me go back to my whiteboard. Let me clear the canvas. All right. So now on my 1 hour and 4 hour is doing this, right? It's my 5 minutes going to be doing the same thing. Although my 5 minutes is going to look like this. It's all these little 5-minute marks that took it all the way up to here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see this on my 1 hour, 4 hour pattern, I know that the market's going up. All right.
That's when you would go down to the 5-minute to trade.
Yeah. So I would say somewhere in here, all right, it bottomed out here. my 5 minutes doing this, my target is here. It's going to try and take out this top. Well, no, I mean, if I was over here, it would try and take out this top.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't know that top yet.
Yeah, but we don't know this topic. And so now it gets up to here, and now my 5 minute from here is doing this. All right. And it stops here,
So you have a new higher low.
and I get an engulfing bar on my 5 minute chart. I know it's going to try and take out this high,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And that's when you would get in.
So now I'm waiting. I get an engulfing bar. I'm waiting to see how strong. I'm waiting for my little pullbacks in my 5 minute, knowing that my target is above this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm determining my direction off my 1 hour and 4 hour. I'm using this pattern to determine on my 5 minute if I want to be a buyer or seller. By here, I know that I want to be a buyer. I'm in an uptrend on my longer term time frame. So now the 5 minute is just looking for my best entry. You know, even if I get an engulfing candle here, I'm waiting for a pullback. You know, I'm waiting to see the sellers come back in. And so I'm looking at the candle pattern in this area here on my 5 minute chart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm determining my direction on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. And people who take advantage of these little moves in here. All right, so let me do this. I will say this, there's an advantage to swing trading. Swing traders are taking their moves on the 1 hour and 4 hour. So this thing bottoms out. I can see that I've got a shallow pullback. I'm going to try and take out this high. So the swing trader may get in here and he may measure his stop loss. His stop loss may be 50 or 60 pips. All right. His stop loss is down here. And he says, all right, that is a 50 pip. I'm going to risk $1,000. So if it hits this, so I'm still risking 1% of my account. He's going to have to take his 50. He's going to have to take his $1,000. I'm getting better at drawing here. I'm dividing it by his 50 pip stop loss. And that tells him how much he can get in the trade for. He knows if it comes down here, he's going to lose $1,000. But if I'm in an uptrend, he can say, is there a chance if I go higher than this, do I have a chance for a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio? My stop loss is here. Can it go up 2 times this easily? Now you're a scalper. So during these moves, they're still going higher, right? No, so just let me erase it. Let me say I still have the same thing on my 5 minute chart, right? And I say, all right, I'm going to try and target this line here, which may be up here. That's this line on the 1 hour and 4 hour. So I decide to get in here and I take a look at my stop loss. And my stop loss is 10 pips, not 50. I know that I can risk. So instead of being in at $50 a pip over here, I may be in at $100 a pip over here. And it goes up 10 pips, I made $1,000. So by taking advantage of all these smaller moves, which is what scalpers do, they still have the same targets. They have a lot less stop loss, which lets them risk more money. Does that make any sense?
I'll have to hear it more than once, but
All right.
I'll take your word for it. I'm gonna have to leave shortly. I have
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and call it a
conference
day.
with my kid's
Yeah.
teacher.
Let's
Thank
call
you,
it a day.
Frank.
Do we want to get together on Tuesday nights?
Why not?
I just didn't know if we wanted to make it kind of a regular thing, so.
Yeah, if
I
other
can't
people
this
want-
Tuesday, but going forward, I wouldn't, that sounds good.
All right. So, well, what I'm going to start doing is recording stuff in the future.
Okay, yeah,
And-
perfect.
And that way I can post it in a YouTube channel. And then
Yeah.
that way, if you can make it, you can't, you know,
Cool.
and we'll stay in touch through the
And
web.
what time is the Tuesday evening you want to do?
I wasn't really planning on another fixed session, but I'm saying these type of discussions are better left for a training session than they are for a trading day.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
We'll just stay in touch through WhatsApp. And-
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Just
Yeah,
can't
thanks.
stop
Have a
us,
blessed
Frank. The
day.
questions will keep coming.
No, but you know what? You're all getting it, Lori. Everybody's getting it.
Yeah,
I'm,
but I'm grateful you recorded it because it's just hard for me to concentrate with the kids. I've been half listening, so I'm going to go back and listen to the recording. So when you get that link, just put it up and I'll
all righty.
consume it at
Bye-bye.
good pace.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Frank. Bye, everyone.